If only the world could be like what we saw in Kobayashi, where a destructive force can sit down and idle by with someone that they just want to be with. Not everything ends in disaster and fire. Although, Kobayashi really giving us a lot to think about. Is there really that much difference between us? No matter our personalities, or whether we have wings and breathe fire. Or 8-ton bosoms. Oh no. Yep. I mean, I didn't think it would be too long before we get to experience this again. Oh no. Danger. You keep things under wraps because they're not actually alone. Thankfully, they're not alone. Yep, there was someone new to the household. Her plans have been foiled. But considering Kobayashi is banded from being or was it Toru, from being a school student as well, because, you know, her age and stature, is she actually going to be make great new friendships with Kana and the Saikawa? And also, are we going to get a revisit to the Made by Maid cafe? Yeah, since Toru left, has their business spiked due to her recipes? And for Iridu having that tragic backstory that we're learning about. Really? That's your reaction? There's so much going on that you don't understand. But do you know any card games that you can actually play? Well, that answers that one. Blech. Penalty? I think Kana needs to realise what this psycho actually looks for. Another suspicious person has arrived. Just don't run with groceries. She's hiding out in the closet. She can actually do that? Well, that's an interesting thing to either learn or remember. I can't remember. I mean, if she's earnestly trying to make amends and live amongst the humans. Just why is the main place we've seen her so far is the bathroom? It takes small steps to reintegrate her. Also, the music to accompany. Of course not. I can't think of many uses for that kind of spell. And rather than magic or anything this time, it's just, nah, gonna keep the door closed. Maybe, yeah, don't okay. You can put it like that. I mean, as long as you play fairly and don't end up destroying the cards. She's a devil. She's the most unhinged out of all the characters we've seen. Yeah, I think like if no one admonishes her behaviour, then there's not going to be any learning. It's been a eventful and emotional few days for her. Did she get to choose the punishment game as well? She's... what's the word? They tucker themselves out with that very exhausting game of cards. So how long was Luca there just watching them and didn't think about getting a blanket? You have to be on your best behaviour, top quality maid work. Oh no. And why is this in darkness? This is not a good memory. She couldn't enjoy the look of maids on herself. Really, no one's complaining that this is what we've been brought here for? I'm glad he did. And now there's no going back on it. And of course, she does everything at 148%, being a true embodiment of a maid. And their penmanship and drawing capabilities are... Don't put ideas in her mind. Who would have done that? Well, yeah, if you wanted a game with no possibility of turning people violent, Monopoly's not the greatest. Bit puffy, yeah. With that kind of thinking. Yeah, a bit too frilly. Ah. It has a certain style to it, I'll give her that. I got a glimpse of... just refined, fairly simple. What would define? I guess the true lesson here. The outfit doesn't make the maid. It becomes one. I mean, who would have thought that there's two of these types? The true spirit of it all. Let's burn that notepad. No, that is the outfit she wants her to wear. But also, isn't it her scales? You might need to readjust in certain areas, though. Is she now finally living out her dream of wearing a maid outfit and not having to be just an onlooker? What kind of gathering was that? I mean, it was only a few minutes ago for us. So she apologises for the sighs that she had before. Sometimes you have to just forego what people would think of you and do what you want. Didn't think there'd be character growth in this kind of area. And yeah, if it was anything else that she was talking about, though. Being scolded for calling her by her name rather than position. Oh no. I'm waiting for his downfall. And such is the way of owning property. Making sweets, is that loud? She's going to learn an instrument. I almost forgot that character. I mean, the room has a definite style to it. Ah! Yeah, no, complete beginner. No. Just happened to make it. I mean, is she just a dab hand at everything she decides to put her heart into? It was just something to do. There wasn't the love of the music in there. So she can do things perfectly, but she needs to find that something where she's well, maybe not awful. I mean, it's a dangerous game. You just stop it for the time being. No, that's her hobby. I mean, she hasn't found a... Sleeping could be a hobby. You haven't given her, a lot of time to find things that she would want to do. She only got reintroduced to talking to people very recently. Yes, because being an idol is definitely something that Kobayashi would pour her heart and soul into, and not reject that. Okay, maybe she should find a hobby that she doesn't pour her heart and soul into. This is creepy. I mean, you can at least tidy it all up for when she gets back home. Are they going to want to play against him for too much longer? It's within the rule set. She doesn't mind taking the loss. So, reliving every moment that really brought Toru to be so infatuated with her. Honestly, I didn't think about seeing season 1 reminders in this one. And honestly, isn't it quite evident that things go the best when she's not overboard and painting portraits of her, making so much merchandise that no one would actually ever buy? Although, would she want to sell it? It's hers. So at what point was the plan to make her an idol? It really bounces back and forth, doesn't it? Life-changing realizations, people finding a place to be and that they can be loved. Oh, and whatever that room full of overbearing emotion was. So really, if you're trying to avoid social interactions, hiding in the bathroom might not be the best idea. That's what I've learned from this one. So I really need to find a new way of going about it. But with such limited space in the apartment, it'll do living in the closet. I'm sure she'll find a way of personalising it just for her own little home from home. But this show is just filled with such bubbly optimism and heartbreak in the form of board games. But it's really hard not just to enjoy yourself. Of course, just seeing the fact of someone who was estranged from people for so long, convincing themselves that their actions have denied them the possibility of friendship or forgiveness. And then we see how this episode has actually turned out. And honestly, I would make some sort of joke here about designing our own outfit and sending it to me over my Discord and whatnot, but I know that some people out there would actually take it seriously, and I probably don't want to see myself wearing anything you guys have decided for me. Of course, I would be the top-class maid of all time, as long as you don't expect me to do any work. But that was today's episodes of DragonMaid, so I'm afraid you're going to have to wait another week. There's only so much you can handle. And honestly, how long can all of this contentment just continue before someone else has to get involved and throw a wrench into things? If you want to find out, you're going to have to come back. But if you enjoyed this one, let me know down below. Maybe even subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out in the future. And if you don't care about that, don't. But this is DragonMaid. This is something. Put an adjective that you think applicable down in the comments. But ultimately, get yourself some rest. See you in the next one. My patrons have decided to try and make a monopoly of this little corner of the internet. And so if you want to make a place that people would really fear to tread, consider joining onto my Patreon as well. Of course, if reference to board games aren't your thing, it's good that there's lots of anime ahead of us. So, to Electricant, Arthur, Noku, Raywin, Kite, Sal, Shiran, Mecha, Matt, Stinsfire, Girly, Saltytron, Cardboard, Croyville, Darkshow, 7899, Alvin, Garcia, Santiago, and everyone else. I really need to thank you for being the voice that logs my channel into the bathroom to try and help it make friends.